Yes, we're going to do a vertical. So, what are the realities of being a radiologic technologist? I'm going to, first of all, shirt. This is my first shirt that I'm doing. I'm just testing it out award to a podcast summit, but we're going to talk about the realities of radiology school. I've been out of school for a few years now, more than a few, about 22 years this August, but I do specifically remember what it was like being in clinicals as a radiology technology student. I was so excited the first day, as some of you most likely will be or are. And I was actually excited throughout the next 2 years for my program and in my program. That never changed. But I'm going to tell you, the excitement kind of wore off as you go along. So how do you keep that excitement? How do you stay engaged? And what kind of things are you going to see? Now, this is the thing. When you first get in the first day, I kind of was like thrown in. One thing about radiology school is you are not sitting in the classroom all day. You are actually going to be in the thick of things. In the clinical setting, you're going to do portables that first day. You're pulling patients back. What else? You're doing everything. I'm telling you, you are doing everything. So do not think that you're just going to be sitting back there and not doing anything, because that is not the truth. It is not the truth at all. Radiology is hands on. So if you're getting into the program and thinking, well, I'm just going to sit back and relax, I'm just going to sit back and kind of see, I'm just more the classroom kind of person, you're going to have classroom stuff at the same time as clinical. My program was not an accelerated program, which they seem to have a couple now. I don't know anybody that's graduated from one of those programs, so I can't speak on that. But I will say I felt like my 2 years was accelerated period. You were going year round, nonstop. I never get you some comfortable shoes. I think I went through about 2 pair of shoes the first year, just on portables alone. Either they just got run over by the stretchers because I never worked in the medical field before. So those stretchers, back in the day, stretchers were not always, what is it called? Automatic steering. Now those stretchers are nicer in most places, but before, stretchers did whatever they wanted to do. You could be pushing right, they're going to go left. And half of them, the wheels, it's almost like one of those buggies from the raggedy grocery stores. That's how stretchers were. And the IV poles were not hooked onto the stretchers. Most of them did not, unless they were ICU beds. But yeah, that was the rush. So I went through a lot of shoes, doing portables, standing on my feet a lot. Just if I would have had a watch to be able to track how many steps I got just in a day in x-ray school, oh my goodness. I would literally go in my car and go to sleep for lunch. That was before my campus got too big. We actually went to Emory University Medical School. So eventually the school, you couldn't even park on campus. The shuttle took 20 minutes for you to even get back and forth. So the first year I could park on campus, I slept in my car for lunch. Like, I was exhausted the first year, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot because you're in there and I was getting with every technologist I could. I wasn't picking and choosing, oh, this tech is nice, this one isn't nice. Now, you had some technologists that did not want to work with students. They didn't. They made it very clear. And most of the time, management knew who those technologists were, and they usually didn't put you with them. They usually, just to keep down and keep productivity, you usually were assigned somebody else, or they would allow you, once they trusted you and knew you weren't just going to like slack off, they make sure you get around technologists that could really enhance it. We had clinical instructors, people that were assigned to work with the students, who had gone through the programs, clinical instructors, curriculum. They knew what we needed. They knew how to help us, and that was better. Any books that I recommend when it comes to X-ray, MRI, or CT? What would be your question? So they give you your books while you're in school. I would not deviate from the books that they have you do while you're in school in radiologic technology school. I would definitely stick with the books that they tell you. In school, I wouldn't go spending a lot of money on separate books. And that's one thing I like to tell people, even now, when you're trying to get more certifications, buying CE credits, be careful who you buy your CE credits from. Be careful who you take courses from. It's like social media. Everybody's selling a course. Everybody's getting CE courses in radiology and selling them to people. Doesn't mean they're good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not knocking anybody's hustle. I got plenty businesses and stuff, so I'm all about a good side business. Some people are hustling. You should not buy some of these people's programs. And these are technologists that create stuff for 1 credit, 2 credits. By the time you pay them $30 or $15 for that 1 credit, you could actually be a member of your local association or your national certification and the quality, I would say, as I've been in the field for 22 years, the quality of your continuing education really does matter. So while you're in school, take what they give you. Don't buy too many extra books because it's already going to be expensive to finish school for radiology. That's my tip. Now, books for MRI, there are, I believe, when I was the one that I studied, because we didn't have MRI schools, was MRI in Practice. That's an excellent book. Now, it's not many pictures in there. It's not easy, but MRI is not easy. So I would definitely say MRI Practice. Take a live course where someone is really good at teaching a physics part. That is the hardest part for most people, not all people. But the physics part is going to be where most people struggle on passing the exam. So that's what I would definitely say. Excuse me. I would definitely say that is MRI in Practice, and then take a live course. Go somewhere. For your radiology school registry, I don't think you need to take any extra classes afterwards, because when I was in school, and from what I know now, they quiz you so much your second year. You're taking mock registries over and over and over in your second year, your senior year as a student. And they mimic the ART exam, and they're actually harder than the ART radiology exam. So by the time you spend almost a year and a half taking mock registry exams, you are overly prepared to pass the registry. When I was an MRI technologist, when I was an MRI instructor, what I tried to do was, from the beginning of the course, test people. Now, again, everybody learns differently. It works for some, it doesn't work for others, but I find that repetition helps. It doesn't mean you understand, but it helps. When you repeatedly get something ground into you, and you walk through it, you talk through it, then you're like, oh, wait a second. When you get to the exam, you're like, oh, I remember that, because it's been ingrained in you back and forth so much. So currently in X-ray school, but now considering MRI, that is an option. This is the other thing I would say. If you're in school for radiologic technology, what can you expect? You can expect the opportunity to go into another modality, and not so much go into, but to learn, be exposed to another modality. While you're in X-ray school, one thing that I did was expose myself to every modality except nuclear medicine. That's the only one I didn't. How did I do this? They don't allow you to do it anymore, I've been told. But there was no rules that I couldn't do it, and there were no rules that I should do it. When I was a student, I finished all of my clinical exams the first year. The first year I did all of them. Like, I just kept my mouth closed, head down, did them all. I was done by the end of the first year. And then I went to the second year, and I had no more exams to do. So of course I still did exams, but what I did was I actually went on and decided to rotate through all the modalities, because nobody was talking in X-ray school about these other modalities that I heard. And I was like, wait a second. I don't have to do diagnostic X-ray only. There are other things that I can do. And I say to you, MRI is not the only modality. I know it's the most popular, talked about on the social media thing, but again, don't always believe everything on social media. Radiology, medical imaging has so many opportunities out there that I would hate. And I'm an MRI technologist, but I'm also a CT technologist. I'm also can do mammograms. I also can do bone density. I also can do diagnostic X-rays. And because I went to school for radiologic technology, I can be a radiologist assistant, which is a master level practitioner that can do things that radiologists do, which is put in feeding tubes, put in ports. There are so many things we can do that the radiologists do as a radiologist assistant, but you can't do that unless you graduate from radiologic technology school first. All perks and reasons why I feel like going to radiology technology school is superior, because it gives you options. Is it the only option? No. But what I don't want people to get from anything that I do, just because I do talk about MRI a lot, is that is like the thing to do. It really is not. A lot of people don't like it. There are people that have went to school for MRI because they heard that it was so easy. It was, it made a lot of money, and they left X-ray and went and did it, or they left CT and and they went right back. They were like, I don't like it. It's too slow. It just doesn't make sense because it's so different from radiation practices, because it's not ionizing radiation. It's a total different concept. Only thing it has in common with CT is that it's cross-sectional anatomy. That's the only difference. And that's why I say, don't get hung up on, I really want to do MRI because it looks so cool. Everybody has these cool little tumblers and they're drinking out of them. And then they're scanning and, ooh, let me make the bed up. Let me clean. That's not real MRI. Real MRI takes a lot of thinking outside the box. The exams do take longer. You really have, not that you don't have to be careful in a lot of other things, but there are so many different things in MRI that we just can't show you. But do you notice you don't see interventional technologists on social media that much? You don't see CT technologists that much. You don't really see, you see X-ray techs and MRI techs on there. You don't see mammogram techs that much. Don't put those down, because I'm going to tell you, a lot of times they make way more money than MRI techs, interventional and mammogram techs. Your program director is pushing you to go into interventional radiology, but I'm not sure. At least, I would say rotate through it for at least 1 month. Not a week. Rotate through it for one, because the first week you're kind of getting acclimated to all the 8 French and 7 French and catheters and the different catheters. It's overwhelming the first week because there's so many different catheters. But I'm gonna tell you, after week 2, I knew what catheter this doctor wanted. I knew what procedure used this kind of French needle. I knew everything. Like by second week, and they eat so well in there because the representatives from these companies are always in there. So and you're in there for a while. You get called. It's a lot of call for interventional. It is a lot. I know it's funny. They eat. When I tell you, one of my friends I follow on social